Hey, hello.
Hi,
Good evening.
how are you?
Just one side
Good, well, good afternoon for
indeed.
me, but good evening for you.
Hello.
How's how's the
It's
fair?
a lot of people. First day was the opening, a big opening, so it was fun. It was a good day, fun day always. Great clients, great people. It was incredible. Great experience.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. And I'm so excited for this conversation. So I'm just going to introduce you.
This is
Is
Oscar,
Oscar
actually.
there as
Yeah.
well?
Uh,
Oh, this is
yeah.
Oscar. Okay, okay. So, uh, this conversation is these are founded by brothers Nick and Rob. I'm going to totally mess up your last name, and
That's
I'm so sorry about that. But I'll attempt. I'll attempt.
pretty close. Pretty
Van de
close.
Wingard.
Yes.
Is that close? Okay, awesome. And childhood friend Oscar
Go ahead. Take a shot.
Ariet. Oh goodness,
Almost. Ariadnas.
Ariet
Yeah.
Maz. Ariet Maz. Lovely. In 2020, Objects with Narratives is a contemporary hybrid design gallery that is disrupting the industry and creating space for artists, both new and well-known, to present their story-driven works through interactive digital platforms and physical exhibitions. Own regularly exhibits at major global art fairs, is currently at PAD Paris, and has been published in multiple publications, including Architectural Digest, Milk Decoration, and more. I'm so excited for this because we kind of have similar paths where we both started our firms right before or in the middle of the pandemic, and you know it's kind of like, not to mention, like, I've been following you, I think, since I started, but or since you started your platform, because the objects that you show and that you select in your you curate are, every single one of them is so interesting, is so it brings a feeling that it's a visceral kind of experience looking at all the different pieces, and and so now meeting the two, well, two of you now, but like meeting you and realizing, I thought at the beginning whenever I started following you that you had been in the business and started your firm so long ago. I had no idea that you started around the same time as me. So it's just, it speaks to the three of you and all that you've done. And I cannot wait to hear more about your story and your backgrounds and what you have uh, um, moving forward. So without further ado, would you like to tell me about how you got into the design industry, a little bit about your backgrounds, and what propelled you to move in the design industry?
So my brother and I, we were already, architects since a while. We've always been designing, but we were doing usually major projects like towers, musea, and these projects, they took quite a while to finish, which kind of frustrated us in a way. So we started to think, like, how can we conceptualize pieces and things quicker, which brought us quickly to the design industry, collectible design. And we designed a few pieces, which also were picked up quite quickly through some galleries, with some really good fairs. Had some really nice pieces, but we're quite, quickly, let's say, disappointed how, the gallery world was managed, and how we, how we were treated as designers. And that's where we kind of thought, maybe it's interesting to do it ourselves. And that's where Oscar jumped in. Oscar has a different background. Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, I come from a completely different background, but Nick and I have been childhood friends since we were 13, 14. We used to fall together. And I was always following Nick and Robbe around with their design endeavors, going to fairs with them, helping them with transportation of a piece, whatever, small things, just as friends do when you're young and growing. And I come from the financial sector. My background is from finance. I've worked for large American corporations for almost 10 years in the financial sector. And Nick and Robbe asked me if I wanted to join the idea of Objects with Narratives as a gallery where we represent talent in a different way than the gallery sector does. And they needed, let's say, more business look on things as well, except for the creative part. And so that's where I jumped in, like you said, mid-pandemic, to change the concept of Objects with Narratives, which had been around for a while already, but then conceptualize it as a gallery, as a representation for other artists as well. So that's, I think, in a nutshell, the story. Yeah.
So I thought the two of you were brothers whenever I looked at your profile because you look so similar. Yeah, so that's why I had no idea that you were Oscar. But okay, so you start building, Nick, did you and your brother, were you building things and tinkering with things since you were small? Were you, any of their family members in the design world? I'm always interested in, like, what kind of, like,
actually
created
not at
that
all.
passion?
We were completely, let's say, inspired always by building things and also understanding how things were constructed, both of them. And I think it kind of, we followed each other's path. We kind of inspired each other. And actually nobody of our family or in our family history has anything to do with design, has anything to do with architecture. It's just, our passion. And I think that's great. It doesn't need to be in a family, or we don't need to be inspired by or taught to do that. We just, learned ourselves, went through university and did all these kind of, courses. And especially learning from people. That was the best, learning from in architecture offices or just from people. And also when we started designing, learning from other designers. This was the most important thing why we wanted to do this, because we think in the design world, it's so free. It's so, they're inspired by so many interesting things. It's so much more free. There is no rules. In architecture, it's very controlled, very, people, there's a certain line that we need to follow, or it's already like considered commercial or cliche or cheesy or whatsoever. So in the design world, there's no such thing, and we really like that, and that's where we met a lot of really interesting people, and that's also the people we started working with. So the pieces that we represent and that you say that you like so much, it's because we met them, and this is now the gallery that we're representing. All of these designers, they're kind of like, most of them are friends. We know very well, and that's something that we also like to keep for the future.
Love that. I also did not come from a design background. None of my family, which also, like, it's a little bit more difficult to get in, but at the same time, I love challenges, and I'm a social person, and I love meeting and greeting, and so it also kind of, it gives you more freedom as far as, like, what you want to create, and I totally agree with you that in design, as far as, like, the architecture part, there are a lot of regulations, and the design is kind of like whatever you can dream up, it's possible. As long as you have someone who's willing to chase your crazy dream with you and help you build it, then it's totally possible. And I love that. That's what, like, lights my fire. I also think that it is so smart of you to partner with someone
Yeah.
who's been in the finance world, because usually creatives, they don't have that business side down. And it's like brilliant that you did that. I had to hire a business coach whenever I first went out on my own, and I'm about to hire a second one. So, um, so just so I can learn all about, you know, and become an expert in the business side as well, because you kind of have to do both. You can't just build your dream off of creativity alone. There has
Yeah,
to
no,
be strategy
it's
behind
very good
it.
that you're conscious about that fact, because a lot of creatives aren't. And if you end up in what we think a gallery model, or the ancient gallery model, let's say, and as an artist or a designer, you end up in that world, and you just have to follow lead and trust what that those peoples and those companies or those galleries say, and you don't have that business mind or whatever, or that understanding, then it gets very tough. And we always hear the stories that big artists and big names never made any money or had a hard time, you know, paying food or getting food on the table, and then when they pass away, they have the great success. We hope to help designers in a way to guide them towards, let's say, a healthy lifestyle now and happiness in doing and being creative. uh, and that's our ideology: being transparent and open and collaborative, rather than just, you know, selling a piece because it's beautiful and that's it. You know, it's a bond that you create with those people, them with us, and we just want to grow together. You know, and that's only more fun and exciting.
Yes. Okay, so what prompted you to break away from tradition to create your own version of a gallery, this new contemporary, um, you know, dream that you are now living? And in what ways do you stand apart from your
Well, I
competition?
mean, I'm pretty sure there are many competitors out there that are also doing maybe some of our things, and I think there are some really good galleries out there as well. But in general, the way we experience the gallery world as designers, we think that, you know, there are a few issues. I mean, one of the, I think, the most underlying issues is the transparency of how things get sold, for what price, to who, where the piece lands in the end, where, you know, where it finds its home. It's kind of important for a designer because you work on it for a long time, you create it, it becomes a part of your, you know, it becomes a baby. And it's important where it gets exhibited or where it finds its home. And this is very important, that it's transparent, how it's sold, where it's sold, just the whole process. So we're trying to do this as much as we can. That's the first principle. The second thing is that, you know, a traditional gallery, the way, you know, the commissions, they differ from gallery to gallery, but usually they're around 50%. And if you just logistically or logically look at the price difference, you know, if a gallery takes 50%, and you know that the designer has to do the production and put the time into the piece, he can never make as much money from a piece than a gallery does. So that way, you know, we thought it's interesting to find, let's say, an interesting percentage where you can collaborate, where you kind of find the same, let's say, level of profit, where it becomes almost a collaboration. You know, when we sell a piece, we know that the designer is going to be happy, we know that we're going to be happy, and that we can just move forward together. Also for the long term, that's very important. So this is something that we also do. So it's transparency, it's the collaboration profit, let's say, and also the exclusivity part, which, you know, lots of galleries, especially in the art world, but also in the higher, more end, in the collectible design world, a lot of galleries ask for a certain exclusivity, which is usually a lot and difficult for, you know, if you demand it as a gallery, you also need to kind of put food on the table, and this is what a lot like doesn't happen a lot. You know, galleries didn't request a certain exclusivity. This is what happened also with us, but they didn't put our food on the table, let's say. So, you know, it is really important that, you know, you're responsible for what you're asking for, and so we're trying to not ask for an exclusivity, and try to work together and just, you know, find a collaboration where we also expect that they don't go anywhere, they don't go to any gallery, let's say, but that, you know, there's a healthy balance where everybody's happy and everybody just, you know, wants to stay a part of this collaboration.
Mm-hmm. And do you
Yes.
also help with logistics of the pieces and everything? So do they create the pieces and then ship them
does
to
that,
you?
yeah.
How does
No,
it work?
they create the piece and we do all the rest. So we just want them to be creative and not worry about everything else, you know. A creative is a creative, and a creative, like you said, is not good at the business part and all that stuff that goes around it. And that would only temper their creative process and come in a way of maybe creating a new piece. And so if a piece gets sold, if we find a new home for a design, then we make sure that the creativity is done by the designer and all the rest is done by us. And so we try to take as much work off their hands as possible, and yeah, the boring stuff is up to us.
Mostly to Oscar.
So you
Yeah,
arrange
exactly.
like pickup and shipping from there. Okay, I got it. Yeah, it's really interesting because I wasn't aware how difficult it was for artists in traditional galleries until just recently, whenever I had a conversation with another artist, and they were explaining how exclusive galleries are, that a lot of galleries won't even represent the artist if they don't have certain credentials, and then on top of that, I was going to have a live with another artist who does lighting, fabulous lighting. I'm sure that you would know the person if I said, but I won't. And they were represented by a gallery, and the gallery told them they were not allowed to do the live, so
Great.
they had to cancel. So it's pretty, like, it's intense, you know, and I had no idea that anything like that even existed. I just, you know, it's incredible that you're giving all these artists a platform and so much freedom to be able to, you know, get their work and their magic out into the world. And you've done it in such a short amount of time. It's really, really incredible.
It is also up to the designer, you know. Sometimes they like it that they don't have to worry about anything, you know. And if a gallery can tell them, look, we will make sure that you have this amount during this year, and you don't have to worry about anything else, but you'll have to follow our rules. And if that's happiness for that designer, then great, of course, you know. For everybody, there's a different model of a gallery and a collaboration. So not every designer is the same. So I can definitely understand other designers as well who are like, yeah, but I don't need that freedom in a way. If I'm sure that I have this amount a year, and that I can just keep creating and living my life and I'm happy, then that's also perfectly fine. Of course, you know, aim for those ultra creatives who just want to be free.
Yeah,
and
no
who keep
authority.
creating, yeah, and who keep creating crazy stuff. Those are the ones that we love very much.
I mean, we are exhibiting someone right now who basically finished a table for Pat outside in the gardens in Jardin Les Tuileries, just outside the tent, just before the first
The
art.
Monday morning, and the build-up was Monday.
And he was just finishing it outside with some resin and so on. We're also not going to name the designer, but it's great. I mean, this if you can pull this off and there becomes a trust, then, you know, this is great. You know, as if this, you know, it stimulates the creative process, you should go for it.
And it's one of the best pieces that we have. So,
Yeah, so it's really.
That always happens that way, to be honest with you. Like, it behind the scenes of a space that you are creating, what goes into that and how everyone is scrambling at the last minute to make it look so perfect. It always happens like that. It never happens perfectly, but that's kind of like the fun of it. It's like a challenge, and your adrenaline is pumping, and everything is like, everyone is moving and running around, but it generally works out. So that's really cool. I love that. I love that story. Okay, so who sources new talent and curates your collections? And what are some of the key factors that you look for in artists that you represent? Do you approach the artists or vice versa?
Usually so it's my brother and me who go look for the talent. Of course, Oscar also sometimes sends things through where he finds somebody or he met somebody. So that also happens. But the most of, like, say, the designers, they come through my brother and me. Usually what we do is we look for new talent, and we try to find it ourselves. But of course we also get a lot of applications, like every day at least one or two, and we try and always look at it. But in the end, it's kind of finding that the feeling of discovering something that you haven't seen before, or something that is just like that kind of brings a spark. It's more difficult, of course, to then get it in your mailbox rather than to find it yourself. So that's also, like, we have around 40 designers right now, and we're also going to stay around that number. This is something that we said from we're going to go really big. We have the designers. We prefer to grow the collections with the designers, and, like, let's say, not have, we want to have 400 pieces with 40 designers rather than have 400 pieces with 400 designers. So we just want to keep the amount low, so we can also focus on them. We can have a regular chat, and that's really important for us.
Yeah, it's smart, because it can become overwhelming if you're not able to manage it all. And you're able to divide your attention equally whenever you keep it.
Give them the right platform. If you have too many designers, then you cannot make sure that their work is well represented. You cannot bring everybody to every fair. You have to make a curation and a selection. And if you have too many, then it's just not fair also towards their work and their effort and their time. So that's one of the main reasons. It's the three of us at this point, and we have interns, but we focus on 40 designers, giving them the best we can, the best we know,
which they also deserve.
Yeah, for sure.
So because we're some really, really good people, and they just deserve the attention, and also to make a sale. I mean, it's not as easy as just to receive a sale. You really need to go hunt people down, calls, emails, like find new clients, like go to fairs. It takes a lot of time, and in this, we cannot do this for 500 designers or like even 100 designers. We can't, not with the group we have right now. But even we don't want to, we really prefer to invest and to grow with these designers that we have right now. Now and then we select a new one, or stop a collaboration, because of several reasons. And this is just important that you keep kind of like a stability somehow. I think we've reached now the number, and now we just need to kind of like move forward.
So you try and show different artists at every fair.
So this, for example, I mean, the last 2 weeks we have three. Let's say the last month we had three fairs. I mean, an exhibition and 2 fairs. So and I think we almost showed almost everyone that we currently represent. Everyone, but almost everyone. And I know we're gonna have some new events coming up, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna now try to take everyone, so everybody is at least seeing. And if we cannot do it, then we also have to question ourselves, why are we not doing it? Maybe we need to rethink our collaboration or so on. So we just need to be honest to ourselves. Sometimes it's also not nice and it's not fair, but this is life. You need to be honest to yourselves and to the people.
Yeah, no.
And do you try to, whenever you're sourcing and looking for new talent, do you try to source talent from all over the world and so it's a
Yeah.
diverse market.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning we found there's a lot of talent in Europe. That's the first thing. Like especially in Belgium, Holland, Germany, France. It's ridiculous. Like it's almost like almost everyone is there. When we started, because also we were collaborating with them, it was close to us anyway. But we've recently discovered many new people as well. Like in Mexico, there's a really strong design scene. US is going up like crazy. New York, LA, Miami, like people are like popping up from nowhere. And also the South Korean market is the designers are really strong. The Asian design market is getting better and better. And now also like Middle East, like designers are popping up everywhere now. And it's also because of social media, because you know it's hyping collectible design is booming. So everybody's like giving their shot and let their creativity run. So now, yes, we are sourcing from anywhere. Of course, like for example, now we're showing also somebody from South Africa, Jan Ernst. And of course, if you know, we have to also promise that we show him, for example, we show him at PAT, and all these pieces need to come, of course, to Europe, which is a big, you know, it's not so easy. It's not like, you know, sourcing from France. So it's all these things you also logistically and financially need to take into account. But the question is, yes, we do source from anywhere. And also the question you asked, which I forgot to answer, is what is the criteria? You need to fall in love with it a little bit. I mean, for us, that's the first thing, of course, but also our name is like, it needs to in order to fall in love with it, it needs to have a story. It needs to have, otherwise you cannot, like, people fall in love with a feeling or fall in love with like a story that they remember. You don't have that, and if it's just a beautiful piece, which there are many of, then for us, you know, great for other galleries, but for us, it's not going to do the job.
Yeah. Can you give us some example of a story?
Yeah, sure. I
piece?
mean, maybe Wart, for example. Like Wart Wijnand, I think he was also live on the feed at one point. So for example, we have a collection that we're showing right now. It's called Blend at PAT. And it's basically, he cuts up one tree, the same tree, which he kind of saws and cuts in different ways. And then he basically puzzles it back together and gives it, he paints, he makes it a different, works with different colors. Incredibly beautiful. It's so textured. It looks like it's made from 5-6 different trees, but it's all the same tree, just because by working it in different ways, it's, you know, it's one piece. So the story of the piece is very interesting. You know, it's also very simply explained. So this is, for example, one example. But you know, I mean, if you name any designer right now, we could probably tell a story about it. Sometimes it's also the story about the person. It's not just about the piece, but the person has a really interesting background that we don't even talk about the piece. We just talk about the person, and people directly will relate what it is, why this piece is his or hers. So.
Yeah, no, stories are powerful. It's really why I started this series, because I think that so many people don't really know the stories behind creatives, and it's almost kind of like this very there's a little bit of a stereotype that high-end design is unapproachable, and I wanted to break that down and also kind of get to know the people behind the brands and find out their stories, because everyone has one, and it will not only bring more attention to you and your brand, but it will help people understand the meaning behind why you started in the first place, and really, I mean, that's what creates a following. So it's for personal and community reasons, but I find it so interesting, people's stories and how they started and why they started.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably definitely why you are so successful in such a short amount of time, because you are not only highlighting your journey and why you decided, you know, the challenge that it took to break down this traditional industry, but you're also highlighting all the artists
Yeah,
that you
it
come
took
across in
for
their
us, for
stories.
example, it took us a year on our platform of having one picture of us, which was you really had to dig deep in our on our website, the picture of the three of us to know who we are or see our faces, who is behind objects. Because we, let's say, don't see the added value necessarily to put us forward because it's about the designer, it's about their story, and it's because of the love of design and seeing or thinking that we can do a job to help them push their ideas and their creativity forward. So it's crazy, and indeed the stories are there are many. I mean, one of them, the guy that we talked about earlier about with the table who was finishing in Paris in a garden in Paris literally, is one of the brighter minds that we have. He's a crazy, insane, creative, beautiful person, and he was a hedge fund manager for many years. He
Wow.
was, you know, he was trying to attain a certain, let's say, expectation from maybe family and friends, whatever. And he broke free from that because that was not the thing that gave him, let's say, life and happiness. And he turned into learning a craft and developing that craft to perfection, and then attaching creativity to it, and now he's a very successful designer who has big, not only dreams but actions. He's building a huge co-working space, let's say in Portugal, where he's designing or creating 35 studios for young designers, and every part of his project has a goal with very low rent price, just to push young designers in their endeavors and in building their careers, because he saw how difficult it is to start. And working with him has been, for us, humbling in a way and very inspirational. Knowing his background, I can relate to it as well from my background personally. And so and that's what Nick said, it's not always only about the piece, you know, we work closely together. We talk to some of the designers 5-6 times a week, you know, daily, a couple of times. It's a very close and open relationship, and so it's inspiring for us in so many ways. But the person behind it, like you said, makes it that much more special. And he's a great example
Yeah,
from that. Yeah.
no, definitely. And he's a designer. It's crazy, really. He's a design. He's also a
Wait, what?
designer, and he's like a designer for designers. Like he's
Yeah.
like really creating opportunities. So
Yeah.
it's really inspiring. I think that's also he's also inspiration for us. So
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. That's so inspirational, and to be around that all of the time, these creative artists and their stories, and you know, like, there is power in multiples, and it just continues. It creates this kind of environment where you hardly lack motivation or creativity to keep going, because everyone's
Fuels
stories are uplifting, right? I totally believe that. I think that hearing other creative stories, why I do this, is it makes me, it just inspires me, motivates me to keep going through challenging times, and knowing that, you know, there are people like this guy who felt like it wasn't his, he had to do another kind of profession in order to I don't know, be seen by his family or something like that, and then for it to him to gain the courage to move down this other path, and how successful he is. It just shows you, like, he's born to do this, and be in the design world, which
We'll
I just love so much.
share his profile with you later.
yeah.
You'll
Okay,
for
okay,
sure
I
love his
would love
pieces.
that.
Yeah, he's a mastermind, crazy guy, beautiful person.
and and I am just like in awe of someone who is taking their success and giving it back to the younger generation, and so that these people, these younger artists, can kind of like develop their own
Yeah,
work is
indeed.
magic. I love that. Okay. We read that you also offer design services in addition to art curation, both for custom pieces and entire spaces. Do many clients take advantage of that
Sometimes,
service?
I mean, a lot of people are like, some interior architects are asking for, or architects actually are asking for putting a package together and, helping to think about creating some spaces that they have. So yeah, we started actually, I mean, this year as well to look at together with some architects to how we can, select some pieces, curate them together, like make a whole like set of pieces, also bespoke pieces, pieces that what you see on our website is what we already made or what is out there. We can also customize things, make it twice the size, different materiality, more experimental whatsoever. So this is actually quite important for us, and this is something we want to also put more we want to emphasize this more this year. Because it's really important that you want to create in the end something unique for the client. So that's that's the thing, that's the goal.
And it's also interesting because people see what we do at fairs and our exhibitions and our shows, and they understand that every piece that we put in a space is curated specifically for a reason and with a purpose. And so we get more and more inquiries about, okay, can you come and swing by and have a look and maybe brainstorm together, and not buy, let's say, 20 pieces of objects with narratives, but just, as a whole of a concept. And that's fun, of course, because you get to intimately work together, as you very well know from your own background. Having somebody having somebody let you into their space of living is a very intimate thing. It's a very humbling gesture as well, or an honor in many ways, where you can work together what will be their daily surroundings. I don't have to say that to you, of course.
Yeah, really, definitely.
But it's a beautiful thing. It's fun. Yeah.
No, I love that you do that, and I love you're offering that, and you're wanting to put more emphasis into that, because even yes, as an individual, it's so helpful. They don't have to go to both a designer and to the gallery, but also as a designer to know that we can work together to create something really special for my client, or to as the designer's client is an added benefit that I haven't seen in other galleries. So so I think that's a super helpful, very interesting and benefit that you're offering.
That's exactly. I mean, also that we're also architects, so the goal eventually is to also move towards interior design again and doing projects together, and that would be the ultimate goal. This has not happened this year, but I mean, it's going to be the goal eventually.
I cannot wait to see, like what I was saying before is like one thing at a time, right? Because we all have these crazy ambitions, but if you don't like hyper focus on the main thing first and then kind of branch out to offer all of these other things like the design and all of that, it's just impossible for it to take off, but yeah, I've got like a list of things that I want to get into that are like branches of design, but everyone always tells me that I need to calm down and
one
of
thing
those
at a time.
Probably
So, the business coach who says
I
take one at a time, and I'm that person within the gallery. Let's say here, they can just go, then they'll just go. So it's one step at a day.
That's like a positive about being a creative. Like you're constantly like dreaming up all of the you kind of need the balance of someone to kind of bring you back down to earth every now and then, right? Okay. We heard, well, last time we spoke, actually, Nick and I, you mentioned that own, Objects and Narratives, is the youngest gallery to show at PAD Paris, which is a leading event for design collectors. How did you get this opportunity? And do you think global design fairs are becoming more open to the idea of change, even if it's set?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. I mean,
That's a very good question.
Well, we were last year at Collectible Brussels, which is also a really, really interesting art fair. In one of the most, I think, for finding new talent and like they have a great fair in Brussels.
Yeah.
We also just went there again 2 weeks ago, and so the PAT organization, PAT Paris, they came and they visited us and they saw the booth and they were like, this could be interesting. So they invited us to Paris, where we went, and then we opened the conversation. And basically, indeed, we're interested in maybe we think to make a gallery joint that had maybe like, let's say, a more fresh idea, or like or is more risky in terms of colors, and so yeah, we accepted the challenge, and that's also why we're coming now with a booth that is actually a bedroom, a darker bedroom, rather than the typical, more, let's say, beige and very warm, also very nice living rooms that they show. So we're doing something very opposite to the most of the galleries right now. It is very obvious, but in a good way. Like, a lot of people react in a very, curious way. Also, the PAT organization really supported us, so we're really, really excited and really happy that they are. And it's thanks to them that that we're here now.
Yeah, it's for sure, and it was one of the things that they also told us when we met them, when we received the invitation. They received feedback from their, let's say, from their clients and the visitors from the fair. The fair is celebrating their 25th anniversary. It's a very successful fair for many, many years. Feedback that they got was, okay, we want to see new things as well. Like, keep doing what you're doing, but also maybe new influences would bring it even, let's say, to a little bit of a higher level, or not necessarily higher level, but just give it a breath of fresh air. And so they went to look for a couple, and the guy next to us, Aiko, who's from Mumbai, is doing the same thing. They're doing amazing stuff. And the other gallery next to us from London, Melissa Paul, it's their second time at PAT. Also a very young lady who does everything herself, also amazing stuff. So they really invest in those, let's say, younger galleries and people, and it's a great opportunity for us. We feel blessed and honored in many ways to be involved in that, let's say, breath of fresh air, let's call it. So it's been fun. It's been a fun day, and now we have 4 more days. So fingers crossed that it keeps going this way, of course.
I'm sure that it will. I think that showing up and presenting something that's never been seen, I would much rather do that than something that's been seen a million times over, because you're going to be remembered, and even if it's in a negative way, it's still a good thing, I truly don't think like there are any accidents. I think that everything happens and is purposeful and in your journey, your own specific journey. So I think that it's really cool what you're doing. And okay, so do the galleries, or do the fairs have to approve
they don't.
your design?
They asked us to do something new. Let's say what we did at Collectible when they first saw us. They liked what we did. It was a little bit. It was not what they usually see at their fair, and so that's exactly what they told us they would like to see. And so they said, if you do something like that, whatever you have in your creative minds, then we will be very happy. And they gave full creative freedom.
Yeah.
So they don't push any limitations or obligations upon you. They're like, okay, we believe in what you do. We give you the platform, and of course you have to pay for it. Of course, it's not for free. Nothing is given in the world, but they do give you the platform, which is a very huge platform, and the opportunity to be there because it's invitational based. But as far as creativity goes, everything was fair game.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Wow, that is amazing. So everyone, whenever you set up, is it closed off and you're designing it, and then you open up and everyone is able to see,
You just
or
build right
do
next to
you
everybody,
build
but
right next to
what
everyone and
happens is,
it's
of course, it's
open?
months and months of preparation. The way our booth is set up was actually already decided by Nick and Robbe 6 months ago. We knew exactly what we were going to do. We knew the concept theme. We had the title. The title is Out of the Blue.
Wow.
We did a blue bedroom, and we come out of the blue as a young gallery, the youngest gallery. And so everything was decided and curated 6 months ago. And then it was just a matter of putting into realization and from sketches and mood boards and whatever into reality. And so we were waiting for the pieces, which were delivered on Saturday, on Friday, on Saturday, and on Monday, and the build-up was on Monday. So it was stressful. We saw,
So you
I
don't
think,
practice.
80% of the
practice
pieces we saw
beforehand.
For the
when
first
we
time.
opened the crates for the first time on Monday, setting up the booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all,
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when did you
Like, it
know
was
that you
June,
were
July?
going to be invited
yeah,
to
like
Pat
like
Paris?
8, 9
when were
months
you
ago.
invited?
Yeah, June or July.
Okay, so you thought of the storyline,
Yeah,
your
exactly.
booth
Exactly.
after the invitation. How cool would it have been to like think of it and dream of it before
Manifesting
the
new
invitation?
things,
It's
but that
almost like
was
it was manifested,
at that point it
right?
was not realistic, let's say. So it was a big shock. I mean, as a young gallery, we know Pat Paris and we know how they usually think and work, and so it was a great opportunity. But I don't think we were dreaming about that yet.
No, that was not the goal.
That was
I mean,
not the
that
goal.
was the goal in maybe 2, 3 years.
Yeah,
But we got a little bit of a
a head
like
start.
head start,
Yeah.
which is great. And I think now looking at the booth and looking how it's going, I think it's great. We're doing perfectly fine, and same as the galleries. So
Okay. So
Yeah,
you
yeah, of course, yeah.
you feel like you're
Everyone,
like measuring up.
every
Oh,
everyone is, even the galleries as well.
amazing.
Like next
The
doors,
what?
they're all like just leveling up. It's like
Mhm.
everybody just wants to show their absolute best.
yeah.
And it is
Yeah.
really high quality. We're really nice, like we're really impressed actually by all the galleries. Everybody is doing amazing, like showing amazing work, and also showing their talent for how they curate their booths. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the level in Paris this year, we hear that from many visitors
Oh my God.
has been great and higher than last year in Paris, they said, which is the bend or the reward also from the hard work from the organization and from Pat who choose the people who invite the galleries, better yet, to come and join. So yeah, it would have been nice if you could have joined us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Next year, I am
We can
1,000,000,000,000%
do
coming,
that.
and I'll be the first supporter at your booth. Okay. Okay, so I've always been interested in this. Can you walk us through the design process for a large fair like this, like the Pad Paris exhibit,
Yeah, I
from
mean, the first thing is for
ideation
us is the
to
concept.
execution?
So what do we kind of want to, what is the goal? For us, the goal now was to make a statement booth where, we want people to see us and to show that we do belong there on that stage. So to kind of stand out, the bedroom idea was kind of obvious for us, because really there is no bedroom. There is no bed that is shown at that. We're the only bed from Laurence Gallet and Justin Morin. It's the only bed. It's a beautiful art piece, but nobody's doing that. So that's the first thing to stand out. And then everybody's quite bright or like nice lit booths. And we went very moody and tried to put around one color, blue, which is also not very common at BAT. So we wanted to really make a statement. That was the first thing. And after that, we kind of like puzzled together, okay, which designers, are ready for the level of path, meaning also selling a bit higher on higher prices. And also, that we always want to work with different materials. So for example, we have around 9 to 10 designers that we're showcasing, and each one of them has different material. One person is doing all the glass, one person is doing the ceramics, one person is doing the woodwork, fiberglass, whatsoever. So everybody has their kind of like specialty and craftsmanship in one area, and then we kind of selected around there. Then we designed the booth, and then we kind of discussed with each designer separately to make sure that they're ready for it, and that's how it went.
Yeah, and we within the concept we were thinking, okay, a bedroom would be indeed a statement piece, let's say. And then Rob is very good at that, at understanding the concept of a room, of not only just, okay, we're doing a bedroom because we want to be bold and we want to be out there. No, what is a bedroom? What used to be a bedroom historically? And Rob found out that historically the bedroom was a centerpiece of the house where you would even invite people. It was a room with a lot of color or ornaments and decoration. And where now it's more of a, let's say, not forgotten room, but a very private space,
Functional.
a very functional room indeed. And we put all our efforts in the living room where you welcome the people and you show your nice pieces and art there, and not really the bedroom because nobody sees it. And so we try to bring that back in a contemporary way. So every piece that is exhibited in the bedroom is actually an old typology which we reuse now in a contemporary way. So you have a lounge chair, you have a bar cabinet on the wall, you have the bed, and those are things which were not forgotten, but not very commonly used in a bedroom, and it fits perfectly. And so that was a big part of the concept. And after all of that, and then it's the boring work again. Then you go to logistics, of course. Make sure that everything is well created, safe packaged, and ready to be there on time to install and set up. Yeah.
So do you reach out to these artists and then you're like, okay, I want you to help me
yes, but maybe I would like say it in a different way. It's more like, do you guys want to start this journey together? Because it is actually it's a really journey, because everybody here is probably the first, like maybe one person has been at PAT, but for the rest, everybody's for the first time. So for them, it's also a huge exposure. It means a lot. So it's the same thing. With one of the designers for example, from South Africa, Jan Ernst, I've called with him almost every day, or at least send him voice messages, or he sent me voice messages since the last 6-7 months.
Yeah.
He's worked so hard on this, and it's such an intensive process. So yeah, so we asked, are you ready for the journey? It's and if they say yes, and everybody said yes,
it's a big commitment.
Yeah, it's a big commitment financially, but also in terms of investment of time from us as well as them. So, but everybody said yes, and I think it was a really good curve of learning and experiencing.
Yeah. And the only criteria that we gave was, okay, it's going to be a bedroom. It's going to have shades of blue, and so what piece do you want to do? And then we picked out with the designers that we wanted to show, okay, are you doing the bed? Are you doing the pendants? Are you doing a bar cabinet? Okay, and then within that framework, let's say, which object are you making? And it has to be something to do with blue and something to do with the bedroom. You have full creative freedom. And then they just went at it, and you steer them maybe in the right way when it comes to little details, about sizes or about dimensions, not unimportant if you work within a couple of square meters or so that's I think the process in a nutshell, indeed. Yeah.
So you give them the concept.
The goal was actually to have a Zoom meeting all together. But to be honest, it becomes very quickly very complicated. If we would have managed to get them all together in a room, that would have been really interesting. But to get them all on a Zoom, because of everybody, they're all over the world, South Africa, US, Belgium, name it. It's too complicated, and also everybody, especially for PAT, it's an important fair. Everybody wants to have a centerpiece or a big piece or wants to stand out in a way in the booth. And so if we let them try to decide, there will be, I think, conflicts as well, which we want to avoid. So we kind of like, you know, we gave them the options, but we also gave them not all the options in a way. You know, we knew also as well that we cannot make a bet from fiberglass or glass, you know. So it could be this material, so what do you want to do? And so we kind of figured it out and puzzled it together with them.
Yeah, and it's not one big Zoom call because you call them 5 times a week in the end. So
Yeah.
you're just in constant contact. So I mean, it's a long process. It was a long process, yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
yes,
so
of
none of
course
the
they do.
artists
So
know
Nick and
what
Rob
the
are very
others
good
are
in
making?
3D modeling everything and putting it into visualization, so everybody understands what the rest is doing, and they also get inspiration from each other's work. For example, when we were in Brussels at the fair 2 weeks ago, somebody was doing a dining table for us, and when we told them, okay, the Tim Franken from the dining table, we told him, Tim, okay, the pendant above the dining table is going to be by Dim Atelier. And he said, oh, okay, now you've mentioned that, I have to rethink my entire design because this guy is next level. So he just started.
No, next level.
And so,
Are
yeah,
they
he
not
just
crazy
reworked
talented?
everything.
It's insane.
And that was based purely on the fact that he knew who was hanging above his table. And that's just, I mean, so we do indeed, of course, show whatever we can. And like I said, a lot of contact moments, a lot of briefing, a lot of debriefing, a lot of fine tuning and working together, you know.
That's why it's so important in the end to kind of keep, first of all, your close group and work very well together with them, because I don't understand if you cannot do it any other way. If you want to have a successful exhibition or fair or whatsoever, you need to work very closely with them, and otherwise I don't see how it could work out.
Yeah. So cool. I love that. And so you don't see the pieces, the finished pieces. You know what they're going to design, but you don't see the finished pieces until the day
like
of
we have a
setup,
marble chair
or
which
like
arrived
a
the
day
week before, and I unscrewed the top of the crate, but it's a piece of 200 kilograms, so I don't know what that in pounds.
It's a marble chair. It's heavy.
It's about 450 pounds. So I cannot lift that chair my own. So I just unscrewed the top and had a sneak peek, and then just put the top back on. And then I was like, okay, we'll see it when we're in Paris, I guess.
Yeah, it will be good.
And I know it will.
Oh my gosh. And all of these pieces that are being shown have never been shown on your gallery.
I mean, we just posted
a picture on
Instagram of the general booth. The pictures were done today.
Yeah.
And also on the website, everything is, and there's detailed shots on the website. We always have an online exhibition running at the same time as our physical exhibition. And so if you, for example, we had 3 exhibitions in the last 2 months, and of every exhibition we have detailed pictures at the same time as the exhibition is ongoing. So people that are not able to attend for whatever reason can still have the feeling and the view of the entire booth and the work that we are showing. So all those pictures are on the website. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'll check them out. Okay, so for the closing question, because I know it's so late for you guys, thank you so much for doing this. I know y'all are like beyond tired. But okay, so what is one of your earliest, strongest memories? Why is it so important to you? And how
for me,
has it
it's not my
impacted
earliest,
you
but if you
today?
say strongest, it was this Monday when we were building up. For me personally, I never ever had goosebumps seeing anything physical in the world. It might be a car, a shoe, whatever piece of furniture. Never ever had I had goosebumps until Monday of our crazy friend, the investment banker, when we took his table out and we had to leave the fair at 9 because build-up had to end at 9 in the evening, and at 8 we still didn't open his crate, so nobody saw his piece an hour before we had to leave, and we were like, okay, let's take it out of the crate. We put it down. It's a huge block of marble, Rosa Portuguese marble, with a tabletop of oak, cork oak wood, a very rare type of wood. And when it was there, I literally had goosebumps on my back when I saw the piece for the first time. I was like, this guy is just on another level. And it doesn't have anything to do with it being designed, it being represented by us, it being Mircea. It's just, I don't know why, but it just gave me it gave me goosebumps. So that's my strongest memory in terms of the gallery. And I can easily remember.
I have goosebumps you telling
That's
me
far.
that story. So it came through the camera.
For me, it
Okay,
was
what about you, Nick?
when we were actually the first time at Collectible. It's actually the first time like we did the fair together, and you know, when we were going to the fair the opening day, and we were all there three together. We were super proud to be there for the first time, and actually, you know, meeting people and actually also, you know, selling the real pieces, because in the end we were always selling online and doing some small shows, but we never really, you know, did sold pieces and worked together in that way. And that was for me the strongest, because in the end it's all, you know, we work so much together, and we're also, you know, it's my brother, best friend, you know, like we're very close together. And so that was really nice moment, and that's something I'm never gonna forget. I don't think anything can top that, really.
And the first physical sale is also always an adrenaline rush, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's the same. Whenever I got my first job after I went out on my own, because I was not expecting to go out on my own. I just jumped and did it, and had no clients, no website, no social media, nothing. And so finding your own, like gaining your own ground and realizing like I can do this, you know, you always have the confidence and I've always believed that I could do anything, but like the very first kind of like, wow, this is happening, is it's so special.
Would you do it again? Would you take the leap again of going on your own?
I'm sorry?
See, then you made perfect.
Every
How it should
day. All day.
Yeah, no, for sure. In a heartbeat. We're having so much fun.
Wouldn't you?
For me, like I said, I come from a financial background, from the largest corporations, dealing with the biggest Belgian industrial companies, to being in a creative field and being surrounded by people who love what they do with a passion
and who inspire you.
It inspires you a lot. And so I would do it in a heartbeat. And we're enjoying this. Meeting people like you as well. I mean, it's fun. It's good, you know. It's fun to grow like this.
Oh my gosh, I could not agree more. It's like it's the best job, and to support one another and see other people like succeeding, it makes me so happy, so excited. Yeah. But so what has been your most challenging part of the journey so far?
Chairs to the States.
That was horrible.
It was horrible. We had marble chairs of 1,000 kilos, which is about 2,500 pounds, sent to the States from Spain, and it was hell. It was hell. It was daily phone calls with shipping and logistic companies. It was and customs and taxes and custom brokers, and
because it was never it was so complicated, and it didn't have to be, but it was just like the fines, threatening. It was just ridiculous.
Whatever could have gone wrong went wrong. So that was the most horrible experience.
Never again.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Well, we shipped them overseas, like over the sea freight. Normally we ship everything over the plane. And it's the first time we do sea freight. We did sea freight
because it was so heavy.
Because it was so heavy, and the client preferred to do it sea freight. So we did, but we didn't know that it got so much more complex than it did. Plus, the people behind this whole chain they were not professional. So that was just being also unlucky, but that was very stressful and we lost so much time and happiness. We didn't enjoy that part.
We lost sleep over it, so
that we don't want to do again. So yeah,
we'll find different solutions in the future.
Yeah. We did it together. Plus one more is like on Monday, like this Monday, I also saw this was very challenging. We brought in the pieces in parts, and there's the heaviest pieces that I'm also I don't know how to calculate to US pounds, but honestly it was so heavy. And we took care of it ourselves. This one is the last time that we're gonna do that as well, because it was just too heavy. We were just broken down after the first day already. And that's not okay to start a fair like that. So we need to control the weight of the pieces to the designers first of all, the dimensions of the pieces, and also
ask for help.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm notorious for custom pieces that are the most complicated, the heaviest, from the furthest places in the world, and I feel you. Like, I am not even in logistics, but I have had to basically work magic for projects, and it is so stressful. And then to have to deal with the client who's calling you all the time, checking all the things, it's like crazy. But yeah, my movers hate me. Basically, my receiving warehouse, they're just like, we're done. But I get it, and honestly, I wouldn't change it, because who wants to do the same have the same pieces in the homes that everybody sees? I thrive and live by creating a new design with custom pieces.
100%,
every project,
100%. We have to do it to be able to deliver the things that we love and the client loves. We have to go through those difficulties. But we did write down which parties we're not using anymore for shipments. That's for sure.
No, yeah, and honestly, once you get through that, you're basically an expert in anything that is related to that.
But the States is very document
you could do
heavy,
it with your
very
eyes closed next time, right? Tell me about it. Like, it's on both ends, on both sides, receiving and shipping. It's like, we won't even go there, but okay, so how do the both of you
don't.
So you're
asking us difficult questions now, Amanda. The first are easier. It's sure. No, how do you disconnect at this point?
Questions.
This is the thing that we were talking about on Monday and Tuesday when we were building up and coming to the Airbnb here in Paris. That we have to take a little step back after after Paris, after this fair, to disconnect indeed and spend some time with family. Nick is getting married in 2 months. I just had a baby who's 7 months old.
Congratulations.
So we have to disconnect a little bit. And I think our way of disconnecting now would be family time for sure, quality time with our partners and with the family. So and for Rob, it will be traveling. Rob will discover Asia for a couple of months.
Look for new designers.
For new designers and new talent over in Asia. He's gone for 5 months in 2 weeks.
So he's gonna work remotely and look for new talent. So it's very exciting. It's something he always wanted to do. So now it's the moment to do it.
Yep, exactly. So disconnect. How do you disconnect? Because I can imagine you're very busy as well. So
yes, it's it is it's part of my calendar. I schedule in workouts at least 6 days a week because it's how I am able to
Yeah.
really just stay insane, or not go insane, but like to keep grounded and things in perspective, because you know, I think that in our industry we're problem solvers, and ant hills can almost look like mountains if you let them, and they kind of consume you, and so it does help me disconnect. I'm a runner. I love to run, and just it makes me feel so free, and honestly does put everything in perspective. I feel like I can conquer the world after I go for a run. So that and traveling, connecting with like-minded people while I'm traveling, and seeing all the textiles and possibilities in design is something that I can't even put into words. It really does fill it's fulfilling, and kind of like it makes me want
That's a
to
good one.
keep going.
No, for
like
sure.
it makes me
Listeners
hungry.
should do as
So
well.
We travel enough. We're in Europe, so it's easy
Yeah.
to travel in Europe. It's everything.
I'm actually going.
Huh?
I'll be in Milan, and I'm meeting up with
Or
Dam Atelier next week. So yeah. So they're great. Okay, last one. Where do you see objects with narratives in 5 to 10 years?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, you go ahead.
We have a lot of, let's say, I'm not going to call them plans, but dreams, and goals, long term and short term. Our our dream is to be able to have a space where we can just have all the freedom, together with designers, to be creative. That's our dream. We believe that having a physical space at this point for us where we have to be constantly is not an added value, but we believe that having physical space in the way that we would like it has a huge added value, not only for us but for the designer. So we want to have let's say a building or whatever you want to call it, where there are studios for designers where they can work out of, where we have a space where we can put pieces and welcome people, to show stuff from the designers who work with us and who we work with, to give them a platform, and also immediately put them in a room together with the clients. So for example, if Amanda, if you come with a client to Europe and you visit a space, you visit our space, and you want to see Dim Atelier, who has their workshop in the same room, and you're working on a project, and you at the same time want to see a piece by whoever, by Miche, for example, then okay, let's all sit together and work on it together, and just be open, transparent, and have a collaboration between everybody, and not be inquiry based, and not do it behind closed doors, and behind many steps of a chain of communication. You know, in the end, we do the same thing, and that's deliver something beautiful, to live in an inspirational place, for the people we work with. And so that's our big dream, let's say, to have that creative freedom for everybody around us that we work with. So yeah, let's hope that that's also reality in 5 to 10 years. Let's go.
I love that. For sure, it'll happen beforehand. All three of you. It's like Objects with Narratives is a rocket ship right now. It's taking off so fast, and everyone is. I am so excited for everything that you've done, and everything that you have coming up. I can only imagine all of the success and the possibilities that are in your path in the next couple of years. I'm just so thrilled, and I'm so grateful for the both of you taking time out of your day, and I know it's so late, knowing that you're in the middle of this huge fair, and to share your story with me and the audience, and
Thank you, Amanda,
so
and thank you
candid
for
about
giving us
everything.
the
I really
opportunity and the
am.
platform
I'm so
to
thankful.
talk about what we do, and it's also nice to have this chat because you already talked to Nick. It's also nice to meet you, and it would be nice to keep growing together, all of us, you know, this
Yes.
new generation of designing creatives to keep collaborating together. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Thank you for the support.
Thank you for this.
Yes. I'm so excited, and absolutely, we will continue growing together. You have a massive fan in me, and I can't wait to see you in person and see everything that you've what you can dream up. It's really amazing, so inspirational. Can you tell everyone where they
For
can
now,
find
social
out more
media.
about you and
So
along
follow us on Objective
in your journey?
Narratives, or just on our website. We show basically every piece that we have or that we can do. You can find on our website. Also, our story, our collaborations, our plans, our previous exhibitions. Anything is out there, and very, very quickly available. So reachable. So yeah. Or you can just send us a DM. We're always happy to talk.
Yeah.
Amazing. Congratulations to both of you, personal and professional.
You too.
And
stay in touch.
Yes.
And good luck in the rest of the week.
And we'll get some.
Yes.
And we'll get some sleep, I said.
What? Yes, I hope so. Okay. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you, everyone,
so much,
that joined us today.
Bye-bye.
I'll include everything in the show notes. Thank you. Bye-bye.